Hello, my love. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Listen, I'm really looking forward to this conversation today because this is about food. This is about plant-based diets, and this is about, I suppose, the fact that we are both women, Black, British, Caribbean women, and of a similar age as well, I guess, and where we are with food and that whole kind of history. And I wanted to start this off by saying, actually, I was just thinking about this, that I was in a play once. I did a little bit, a cheeky little bit of acting once, well, a few times, but anyway. And I played a grandmother who had dementia. And part of the script, the director said, okay, so there's a bit where you have to cook for your, you have to cook. Think about a dish that you would cook if you was a grandmother. And I said, okay, I want to say green banana and steamed fish, like not plantain, but like green banana, right? And I thought that was quite authentic, because if you're Caribbean, you're not saying, oh, rice and peas, you're saying green banana, especially if you're a grandmother, So food and culture and how I've been kind of raised around food. When I got diagnosed with HIV, once I realised I wasn't going to top it and I was actually going to live, right? It wasn't a death sentence. I thought to myself, I want to live as healthy as possible at some point. Because you go through this journey. You first found out and you throw away the fag, then a year, half, 6 months later, you're back on it again, So I thought to myself, at some point, I know that I want to live healthy at some point in my life. And I thought to myself, well, I understand that this vegan diet malarkey is meant to be quite helpful, but I don't know if it's something that I could ever do, So I started that process by, first of all, I just had fish. So I'd only have fish and, pescatarian is what it's called when you only eat fish and everything else. And then I watched a program called What the Health on Netflix, actually. And after watching that program, I went straight vegan after watching that. And the main
There was
thing...
no scaling. Okay, sorry. I'll ask loads of questions afterwards. Go on.
Yeah. So the main thing about watching that program, the main things that came out to me, why it impacted me, what motivated me to actually just bite the bullet and do it, was because they showed these Americans. One was on like a Zimmer frame, one couldn't walk, one was half keeling over. They all had high blood pressure, diabetes, and all the rest of it. And they all went for this kind of, plant-based diet for 2 weeks, 3 months, however long they went on a plant-based diet. And then they threw away all their medication. It was like, oh, look, I can walk now. I'm exaggerating and I'm kind of condensing it. But I remember watching that thinking, shit, wow, it looks like that this vegan diet malarkey might be something that's quite useful. And as I'm getting on a bit and I'm taking this medication for life, maybe I'll give it a try. So that motivated me, seeing that. And also the kind of the animal part of, I wasn't a huge animal lover like I am now, and I didn't do it for the animals at that point. I done it for my health, because I didn't want to take more medications, as simple as that. Okay. But the hardest thing for me, and I'm sure this will be one of your questions anyway, what was hard? How did you do it? How difficult was it? The hardest thing for me was worrying about making sure I had my protein and making sure I had, the right balanced diet.
Okay, you're worrying about the balanced diet. For me, I tried it and crashed and burned because I couldn't keep it up consistently. I tell you, because when you asked me about diet, and I remember, for me, it's I put aside my West Indian cooking because to me that just signals 600 hours. And I was in this lifestyle where I work to work. Don't work to live. I work to work to get up to be. So hustle, 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 hustle. And what I see over time is that drive. And remember, you're kind of working to be successful, to earn enough money to be able to pay the bills, to do this, to do that, whatever you've got going on. But it meant literally 5 days a week in front of the desk, and then anything I took home, because I was a lunatic for taking work home and working weekends. And it didn't dawn on me that I wasn't cooking food myself. I was getting food on the fly and not checking what I was eating. And I thought healthy was, if I got Chinese, well, at least it's freshly cooked, or so I believed. And then if I bought from the West Indian shops, well, at least it's my own people's cooking. So it'll be healthy cooking, but it's still food on the fly. And I knew in the corner of my eye, back of my head, that the people are talking organic, but it wasn't something I could fit into on the fly food that's organic and inexpensive, not too expensive, because always my pocket was limited and I was already spending crazy amounts on somebody else's cooking. But accepting that as the easiest way to fit in with this lifestyle. So we're coming from, I should know better and do better, but I wasn't. So tell me more.
But can I just say, this is what my routine used to look like, right? Similar to you, work hard, play hard. So I'd work really hard, like after work, maybe go out for a drink or two. On the way home, I'd get off the train, cross the road from the train station was chicken and dips, drumstick and chips, loads of mayonnaise and tomato sauce and chili sauce. Fucking hell, that was good. Loved it, and it wasn't the fact that it was $2.99 or $1.99 that helped. It was that, so that was in my head, that was snack money. It was a snack because it was only £2, but it was tasty. It tastes nice. It tastes nice. It's quick and it's cheap. When you've been working all day and your belly all of a sudden starts saying, I'm hungry, you really think I've got time to go home and either cook or spend £30 on a decent meal, really nice meal, when the chicken and chips was rivaling that. It was cheap and it was tasty. So that was what I used to do.
No, and that makes total sense. And you've hit all the right tick boxes, because when you say cheap, cheap because it's what I can afford, it's around the corner, it's convenient. Had to be convenient because I'm coming home with it at 8, 9 o'clock. I don't want to go into the kitchen. And I think I'd got into that habit and routine of working till those kind of 8, 9 o'clock. Now, I don't know how long it takes you to get home. It didn't take me long. So that only adds to the working long to deliver to deadlines. And for me, any food that requires any preparation is a no-go, because I would have screamed, I don't have the time. And yeah, go on.
There's a lot to say about that in terms of, sometimes I don't like the word diet, I like the word nutrition, I guess, or another word, but it's such a wealth. It's such a wealth of, it's so complex, from the convenience to cooking it, to not enjoying cooking, to enjoying cooking, for it to taste good, and culture and being around people and change. There's all that around it. But my question is, can you remember when you first started to think about what is all this vegan business? Was it recently? Was it years ago? Like, when did it come to your attention? Plant-based.
Oh, absolutely, years ago. So there was always the vegetarian, because remember, you could see Greenpeace when they were at the height for us. And there was always mum's cooking as healthy. And there was always culture that said, you don't know what is in this food. And when you so I always had that knowledge of what you cook for yourself, you're clear about. I think, yeah, Greenpeace and talking about the animals and how they're treated and then the planet. But I think the biggest swing for me came when my sister became vegan. And it was like she had an evangelical moment and she was red hot on it. And so everything she was learning about food, she just passed on to us. And so there were light bulbs going on. But again, me finding shops where, you see, Greenpeace left me with an understanding of organic, but cooking organic Jamaican, didn't like cooking. So that was problematic. But cooking vegan, taking away everything that I knew and me having to start a whole new way meant, when I look back on it now, it means you have to be really intentional. You have to be on it. It's not something you can just slip into. And the trouble with it was I put nothing really in place, no recipes, no food in the cupboard. And again, I still hadn't addressed the issue of time. When are you going to prepare? You're either learning these recipes or you're cooking mass bulk cooking, so that and I didn't do any of that, so it just didn't fit. And then it wasn't long, I had a cupboard full of good intentions, and then I went back to the chippy.
But you know what, there's quite a lot there to unpack, but sorry, I just wanted to say, the Rastas, they were vegan from time, and anyway, I just want to put that to one side. So I think that there are so many different ways to kind of approach it. I can only talk about the way that I approached it. And the way that I approached it was actually a day-by-day thing. I'm going to avoid anything meat-based. So I still went to the chicken and chip shop, but I got chips and I put loads of sauce on it and I got onion rings. So when I first transitioned, it was about not looking for healthy options. So it wasn't, I would have deep fried, onion rings or veggie burgers. I'd still have all of that, but it just wouldn't. So it was, I suppose what I'm saying, it was just one thing at a time. It wasn't about me cutting out the oil or cutting out this or cutting out bread. It was about just cutting out the meat. That's it. Just cutting that out. So I'd still go to chicken. I'd still eat as normal. I'd still eat bread and things that were supposed to be eaten in moderation. I'd still do all of that. I just focused on avoiding the meat. And then little by little, I kind of stuck to it because it kind of empowered me. I think at the end, I started to feel quite empowered. I started to feel like I was back in control. HIV took something away. I felt. Do you see what I mean? I felt, my femininity. I felt like it took something away. So I kind of felt, being in control of not eating, meat and meat-based and dairy made me feel that I was back in control of my body in some way, like that disassociation with the HIV. So that's how it worked for me, that, and the fact that I've got to take this flipping tablet, every single day. I say remember, like when I was taking the pill, for example, it's like, oh my God, like in them days, you've got to take a tablet every single day. Nobody wants to take tablets. Who wants to take tablets? You don't really want to take it. So I knew that I had to take a tablet every day. And I just wanted to do something that would lessen me having to take more stuff.
But that there's still a relationship to the tablets. Because you see, when we're taking the pill every day, the association with it is it's an advantage not to become pregnant.
Yeah.
So that's the association. Whereas with HIV, taking the tablet every day is that thing that is inside of me, or those drugs. You didn't see the morning after pill as a set of drugs. You saw it as preventative. So your association changed how you feel about it. Whereas me taking the medication, the issue for me wasn't was fear before I started taking it, a whole massive fear, the whole pharmaceutical company type of fear, what's it doing to my body type of fear. And remember, that's also locked into culture as well. But the reason I take it isn't about that tablet, it's about that thing that proved it could deliver health to me. Every day that I take it, I live, and I remember what sick looks like. I know what sick looks like. I know what we don't know if she's going to live looks like. And within 6 weeks of taking those tablets, I got up and I came out of hospital. So I see how it works. I understand what tweaking it means, so that I get best quality of life, minimum side effects. But I manage the side effects and have an awareness of what it brings to me. And I should have, in theory, that same level of awareness when it comes to food and what I'm putting inside my body.
So what's the barrier? Have you had successes and have you had barriers?
So to me, I've had successes because I did hit vegan for a while. But then I dropped out again because partner doesn't do vegan, didn't see it. I also work to the nth degree. And I think for me, the journey has been about, what do I use food for now? And I see maximum stress. And I see that what I do is, it's not just about convenience, it's about, how do I soothe myself? With food. I know that I came out a size 12 and I'm now walking towards a 20. So slowly but surely I've been putting the weight on, and I have to address the issue of my relationship with food. So I manage the one with the medication. This one, another ask. And I know that in theory, but the sit down this time with me is, I know the theory, but it's like you've just asked me, so what's stopping you? And that is a conversation I'm having. But you picked it up. You picked up the mantle with the food. So I'm always intrigued. Tell me where it's taken you.
Where has it taken me? It's taken me, I tell you what just keeps coming to my mind, Yvonne, right? Change. It's all about change. So when I was a smoker, I drank quite heavily as well. So they both went together for me. I couldn't drink and not smoke. I could smoke and not drink, but I couldn't drink and not smoke. So I had to make a decision. So once I gave up smoking, I had to give up drinking, because I at that point in my life, I didn't do things by halves. I was quite extreme. So change. So what happened is I had to decide that if I really want to stop smoking, I have to change my lifestyle, which meant, what about after work drinks with people at work? We all go out, all of us, and me sitting there drinking what? Do you know what I mean? And, and all those occasions when you have a drink, and I had to do a change management process. I had to go through a massive change management of a lifestyle process. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget this, actually. I remember I used to go to salsa dance classes, and I went by myself. I thought, you know what? I'm flipping fed up of having to do with cigarettes controlling me, alcohol controlling me, society controlling me, social media controlling me, my workplace controlling me, my man controlling me, my children controlling me, and on and on and on it goes. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to this salsa lesson I'm going to go. I'm not going to drink. And you know what? When there's a break time, I'm not going to go on my phone. So we're all practicing, and then it's break time, and everyone goes off to the bar. And I sat there with my hands in my lap, just looking around. I was like an alien. Could you imagine that? Just wasn't on my phone, like, oh, what is that? You know, I wasn't showing people that I was busy. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't talking to someone. I didn't come with a friend deliberately. I just sat there by myself and I thought, what is it like? I want to experience just being, not with my phone, not with a friend, and not with alcohol, not with a fag. What is that like? And someone came over to me and said, are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. But so what I'm talking about, this whole sort of change management. So that's the kind of stuff I go to. So when it came to food, and it came to plant-based, I remember before I went plant-based, I was pescatarian, so just fish. Christmas dinner, I normally cook the run-up to Christmas. I normally have the ham, the gammon, and the kids love it. And you know when the kids love something, it makes you smile because they all look forward to it. So the night before, I'd make this big gammon, and I'd make homemade bread and cocoa tea, you know, hot chocolate, aka, right? So I'd make all of that, and kids would love it in the morning. And it's just such a lovely tradition that I'd love to do. And I thought, I've got to do this and not enjoy it. I've got to do this and change a bit of our family history culture by opting not to partake in this lovely gammon. But on Christmas Day itself was quite interesting because I'd done the turkey and the lamb and all the rest of it. And I bought this fish. I wish I could remember the name. It just gone out of my mind, but it was this fish I bought. It'll come back to me. And on the dinner table, everyone said, can I try your fish? And about 3 out of the, 5, 6 people that were there preferred it than the turkey. They actually preferred it. So I think the point that I'm trying to make, where I gave the example with the alcohol and the dancing and the lifestyle and the work, it's all about change management. It's not necessarily just about what you put. Yeah, you've got to think about your belly, but that's a completely different discussion to have. The hunger pains, that's a different discussion to have, the hunger pains and how you feel about that. What I'm talking about is change and how we people address change.
Okay then, because in my household, coming together for family dinners was good because my sister just, once she set her mind on it, she was possessed. Out of the cupboards, in with a support group. I think that's makes a massive difference. In with a support group, be around people who get what you're doing and respect even if they don't do. Because when it came to Christmas dinner, now she's vegan, no dairy, no this. So for us, that was massive change. But what we did as a family was we still had the traditional on the table, and we brought her stuff to the table as well, and any background stuff that she needed to cook, her stuff. And then the two were put, and you're right, curiosity is the best thing, because we tried some of her stuff and it was fine. Always on our tables, there's two cultural, lots of food going on. So I know it can be done, but what I've struggled with is the change. Because when she's gone, when she's not cooking, see, because while she's around, I can sit and I happily will eat vegan all day, every day, and I don't miss. But once she disappears and I go back to the 9 to 5 and I'm hustling, there is no vegan shop.
I understand.
Yeah, so, and then the coming home at 10 o'clock is not conducive to, I'm sure that cooking is quick. My sister has left me with the cookbooks. I have vegan cookbooks, but what I'm looking at is what makes you stay. If everything is put in place to support me to transition over, I am still doing the meat at $2.99 every night, and I require more to move over. It's not enough to have the books, because I can download 1,000, and if you look in my kitchen, the amount of books go across one wall, but that doesn't translate into the changing.
So that's
and I
interesting.
think it's the same. Yeah, well, it's the same as there isn't to change from one thing to another. Remember, I have this love of food, all food, but there is something at the root of me that isn't jumping from all food to selective food, even when I know it's good for me. My sister could rattle off the health benefits, but I'm still not moving.
I agree. I think the health benefit thing, I think that just goes to one side, because, you know, like the smoking, you know, but you still do it anyway. But I think there's something you said that was quite interesting. So it sounds like for you, it's not about the taste, you know, because you do it. Your sister's there, you'll eat it. It's about the convenience, I guess. If you're hungry, you can stop off at a shop and get what you want. You can. Is that what you're saying? It's the convenience of having, or is it about giving stuff up?
Both, because if I walk into Aldi and I think vegan, I don't know how much of it I'd see there. I think the convenience, the lifestyle change I've got to make is how much, so the addiction to hustle, because it's driving to something else. Because the truth is, then if I know it's good for me, like I know these tablets are good for me, I'm taking them. What is in my mindset that makes it okay to work 24/7 and not create the space to either buy well or to buy the ingredients well? That is the change that I haven't put my finger on, but I know it's imperative. I used to smoke too, and I think the nearest I can think of it is it took me quite a few attempts. I didn't go in and just stop smoking. I went in, stopped. And when I say I stopped for a good 2 years. So you'd think the habit was there. But actually, stress triggered and I was back on it. And then I was on it again for long periods of time. So for me, to jump to vegan requires me dealing with whatever it is holds me to my current habits. I've got to replace one set of habits with another, because it's going to be, like you said, massive lifestyle change. But how, I'm still listening.
And that is the key. That is the key. You know, we cannot underestimate that from the day 4 or 5 months old, 4 months, I don't know, when you start having solid food as a baby, solids, you know, we've been eating in a certain way. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to change what we have been born to eat in a certain way. That's a massive kind of transition. But what I'm hearing, it's about putting yourself first. That's what this is about. It's actually about putting yourself first, because food brings people together. It's a culture, it's a family, your partner, your children, your you know, and what's going to happen, you know, like when you both sit down together, you're going to eat separate meals, you're going to eat the same thing, you know. It's kind of, you have to be quite strong-willed to say, I am doing this and it's working for me. and it might not work for you, but it's working for me. So that's what I think. A lot of this
All right. Go on.
is about absolutely putting yourself first. And if it means, and that's about setting boundaries and the boundary of yes to yourself. Because if it means that where you've prepared yourself something and maybe your partner doesn't like what you've prepared, I think it's okay to say, well, look, tomorrow I'm cooking this. If I'm not going to have time to do anything else, you just put yourself first. So that's a transition. You know, that's a transition, putting yourself first and cooking and eating the way that you want to. Another example, I would be out and about, and so everybody would want to go to one shop, and I was always really balanced in it. I'd say, I tell you what, you go in there, I'm just going to pop into this shop because there's some stuff that I like in there, and I'll meet you back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care if it was uncomfortable or, you know, I had to put myself first. And at that point, I put my stomach first. And also, yes, when I wanted a treat, I mean, honestly, it was all about me. Because when I had a long, hard day at work, or a long week at work, and I wanted food. Food was my treat. It used to be fags and alcohol, then it became food. My treat. I've had a long day. And if I'm vegan, what am I going to have, you know? So I would either order food in, you know, delivery, and get some really nice vegan food in, or I'd go somewhere. And so
Like,
it
where do you
wasn't...
get vegan food? Because I'm intrigued. Because if you're saying minor tweaks,
Yeah.
where were you getting the vegan food? Deliveroo, you said. So who is the outlet?
Oh, so many. I mean, I know that you're in Birmingham, yeah, but you can sorry, Manchester. I don't know why I said Birmingham, Manchester. Yeah, you on Deliveroo or Uber Eats or any of them, you just look up the vegan option. You can actually, you know, ask for vegan restaurants near me. Vegan restaurants near me. You know, so I would just spend a lot of money on myself. You know, I used to spend a lot on alcohol and cigarettes, so why can't I spend a lot of food? So where at the beginning, Yvonne, I wasn't trying to lose weight with this shit. I needed it to taste good. If it didn't taste good, I ain't doing it, because I love my food. So I would go to nice restaurants. I would cook what I wanted to myself. When I would go to, they've got some really nice, Richmond have got, so I like their sausages. They're vegan sausages by Richmond. I think Aldi does it or Lidl does it. And I liked it. So cooked a good 4 sausages and chips, but it was vegan. If I had to have pork sausages and chips, maybe I'd feel a little bit like, oh my God, it's a bit much in it, but I'd be eating it. But with the vegan stuff, I just concentrated on feeding myself everything that I liked. And then when I got over that transition, then maybe I'll calm down a little bit. I think maybe I'll change the white rice to brown rice, you know, but that wasn't my focus at the beginning. That wasn't the focus. The focus was putting myself first and doing what I want. Simple.
And that sounds good fun. I don't think so. I'll qualify. I don't think my partner would mind whatever I am.
Yeah.
This is about, it is about that reoccurring theme in my life, which again, HIV became about. That was about what putting myself first in terms of my body, and the continuation of that would be, yeah, what I put in my body in terms of food. And this is going to be the new agenda. I was going to say battle, but I'm mindful because it sets food up to be some sort of fight, but to be more intentional. It's not even the food, because it's about what time I spend with myself. You're buying it at the moment. Have you got to the stage where you're cooking it, and how did you move over with that then?
Oh my God. You know, I can't, my story, my journey with vegan food, it's a love story. I mean, every single genre you can think of culture, you know, like, you know, Thai and Japanese and Caribbean, obviously, and, you know, modern European and, you know, all different sorts of foods. All different sorts of foods I cook now. And yeah, look, I need to show you this. I've got this here. This is my yogurt. So I'll tell you
Okay.
what this is. You see, this is a tin of coconut milk from Lidl, which is 50 pence, 20, 30, I don't know, 50 pence now. Pour it in this glass bottle, and I get this so I can't pronounce it, probiotics. My pronunciation's a little bit.
Probiotic. Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah.
It's the dyslexia. So a probiotic tablet capsule in it, stir it around, put it to one side, leave it for a day, and it becomes nice and thick and creamy coconut yogurt. So
Wow.
yeah, I put that, and I put some maybe I'll chop up an apple, get a little bit of coconut oil, kind of stir fry it, like half a teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever. Stir fry the chopped up apple. Put a bit of, you know, agave. If you don't want to put agave, just put on sugar. But sweetener of your choice to crystallize it a little bit. Then sprinkle on with a little bit of oats.
Okay.
Mix it all around, and that becomes like a nice, the apple gets crispy with the oats on top of it, and then put it with the yogurt, and you've got a lovely vegan breakfast. So that's just one idea of many, many, many ways to make vegan food interesting.
But it's
So,
fun
yeah.
because it goes beyond that, because here's the difference. The two of us, you know, like we just said about the tablets before and how you see them, your attitude to food and mine are totally different, because you've said you've immersed yourself in food in a way that I haven't. I've stood on the outskirts of food and consume it to keep me going, whereas you're having a love affair with it. You're loving it. You're actually cooking it as well, whereas for me, find me something else to do. No.
So cooking is not something you enjoy?
Nah, but that would be my challenge then, because that's why I was asking you, when you talk about Deliveroo, remember I've worked all the hours that God sends. I'm shattered and tired. Deliveroo, I've got to find the place where I can go now just to get used to ordering and eating by way of transitioning.
Yeah.
So you made the leap from ordering in and choosing, and now you're in the kitchen and you are giving it time. So let me ask you the reality check of eating good food. How much time are you spending in the kitchen then, preparing, eating, enjoying?
It absolutely depends on how much time I've got. If I've got no time, I will literally throw everything into a bowl and just eat it. Like, you know, we've been brought up with roast dinner is 2 veg, potatoes, gravy, and you've got your meat. With vegan food, there is no such thing. If you want to chuck some raisins on it, chuck raisins on it. If you want to put tomatoes on it, if you don't. So there's no, you know, I don't really do this kind of, this is the way that I eat now. I just cook things together, if you know what I mean. Whereas I was brought up with, you have your potato and your chicken. You have your rice and your chicken. You have your carbs and your chicken, or your lamb and your roast potatoes. Well, I don't do that anymore. I do what, like, at the moment, I've got a corn on the cob. I'll chuck that in the air fryer, sprinkle some garlic powder on it, cut up a beetroot. I like the beetroots in Lidl. Chop up the beetroot. Maybe I might put a bit of sesame oil on the beetroot, sprinkle a bit of salt on the beetroot, because I have to make that beetroot taste nice, or why bother? So, and then I'll have the sweet corn with it.Maybe I'll have a little bit of bread with it. So how long did that take? I like sweet corn, I like beetroot, I like the bread. Maybe I would have bought a hummus or something. So what's that? Sweet corn, beetroot, bread, what else is there? Oh, maybe I'll have some tomatoes with it. Oh, maybe I'll, curry
Yeah.
with it, So I just throw things together. So yeah, that's the way that, but it is, I understand it is a kind of transition, and everyone's different. I know what I'm like. I had to go all in straight away. Half in, half out was difficult for me because of my personality. And I know that for some people, it's good to do it for a week, a few days a week, maybe, 1 or 2 days a week, maybe. And it is about finding places where you can find stuff easily. When you're hungry, you can get what you want. But
Yeah.
so, at the moment, do you cook at home or do you eat out often?
No, he does the cooking. He likes the kitchen.
Oh, now we're talking. Okay.
So you see, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, the time for reflecting is now, because you talk about control of your body. I gave over control of the kitchen. I don't cook to order, whereas he cooks with a military mind. He goes in, I've got 5 meals to cook. We cook, but he cooks in bulk. So what's happened over time is the kitchen is his because he's doing the cooking. So the ingredients become his, what we eat and where we shop and what we buy. And how it tastes and everything is down to him. The control in the kitchen is now his. What I would like to do in some ways is to have the pleasure of cooking. I don't enjoy, there is no space. So for me, this journey to rediscover food would be just about, okay, let's see what I can remember from what I used to do. And because the kitchen's his, and I've got used to in fact there's 2 transitions, because I've got to get used to stop working 24/7 and say it is the giving up cigarettes, it's the giving up of work enough, create the space enough to go into the kitchen to try something that, and the key word you said was enjoy. I've got to enjoy it. I do not cook food for the sake of getting it on the plate fast. I enjoy the throwing things together, but when it lands on that plate and everyone's eating it, it must taste good. It must. But I would love to be able to cook Caribbean food in some ways, but not 600 hours later. And in some ways, that's a false economy, because some of our food is about giving it time to marinate, that overnight, seasoning it with, so that the flavor, and almost my go-to with food is, please give me something that is quick to do, that I can enjoy making in a short period of time, but it must be nutritional. It must be nutritional, and it must be fun for me to do, or I'm not going in the kitchen. I have my dislike of cooking is long standing. The historic memories of food is of a woman who hated food, having to do it for 6 kids and a partner not liking it, not wanting it, so it's stress. And when I think of the kitchen, I know it is possible to cook food, but it's almost like I have to psych myself up to go into the kitchen, psych myself up. And once I'm in there, and there isn't I think that there's a criticism of what I'm going to bring out. I don't know whether that, because they normally love what I cook. There is no complaints people like, but I've got, you see, it's almost like I'm working really hard at getting rid of these layers of stuff, just to be able to go into the kitchen and cook food. So rather than manage the layers, it's almost like saying, well, I'll bring in the bacon if you'll bring in the bacon, that bacon. Do you mean, does that make sense?
That makes sense. That's just so interesting. The journey that you're on at the moment, especially the added dimension about, you know, cooking and your relationship with just kind of cooking, and the fact that that's his kind of domain, and you're going to start encroaching or stepping into that space. But that's change. This all boils back to change. And part of that change, actually, on social media, there are so many recipes on YouTube. And that is how I started, step by step. I'd press pause. I'd think, I want to cook that. And I'd press pause and I'd do it. And they said, do this. And I'd do it. And I'd start with simple things. And there are so many things out there that are quick and easy and tasty. And at the end, you feel so satisfied. And there is a lot of support out there. But wow. So what are you thinking?
When you said food, I thought, if you only knew, if you only knew. Yeah, it's going to be a journey. If there's anybody out there who wants to do a support group with me, I have no problem. Well, absolutely none.
At the moment, I am actually putting together a course and exploring plant-based food is one of the stages. It's one of the stages, you know, in a supported environment, just going through the meal plan, what needs to happen, what people like to eat, and how it gets prepared, and just tips. But yeah, I'm kind of working on that. But I think that yes, it will. It's something I'm sure.
Yes. Well, I'll hold you to it, so that if we have to do it live online while you see me chattering my teeth and absolutely pulling my hair out, it would be good fun. Because I'm all for let's try it. What have we got to lose and so much to gain? And if there are others out there who would be willing to have a go at trying food, finding fun with food.
Yes, finding fun. That would be great. Yeah. Okay, definitely. Well, of course, is going to be looking into that and working on that. So let's see what happens. But yeah, okay. God, I love speaking to you. We're gonna wind it up now. I think this is the longest that we've talked. Actually, we could have carried on, but I kind of felt to carry on, it was going to be right. Let's see what we can do. You know, let's start planning something. I just want to show you this. Look, my neighbour just came and gave me all these lovely tomatoes and carrots. And anyway, okay, darling, I bow to the divine in you, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you. To the divine in you too. Take care. I'll catch you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.